Welcome to Mystify Me, True Crime and Enigmatic Investigations, where we delve into the world's most perplexing mysteries. In this episode, we explore the tragic and unsolved case of JonBenét Ramsey, a 6-year-old beauty queen whose 1996 death shocked the world and remains one of the most enduring enigmas in American true crime history. On the morning of December 26, 1996, the quiet, snow-covered streets of Boulder, Colorado, seemed like a scene out of a holiday postcard. Nestled among these serene surroundings was the large, stately home of the Ramsey family. John, a successful businessman, his wife, Patsy, a former beauty queen, and their 2 children, 9-year-old Burke and 6-year-old JonBenét. To those on the outside, the Ramseys appeared to have it all: wealth, status, and a picture-perfect family life. But behind the closed doors of their Tudor-style mansion, a horrific tragedy was about to unfold, one that would shock the world and become one of the most enduring and perplexing mysteries in American history. It all began when Patsy Ramsey awoke early that morning, preparing to start the day. As she made her way down the grand staircase, she noticed something strange: a handwritten note placed conspicuously on the steps. The note, addressed to Mr. Ramsey, was long and rambling, filled with misspellings and strange phrases. It demanded $118,000, a figure eerily close to John's recent work bonus, for the safe return of JonBenét, who the note claimed had been kidnapped. The letter warned against contacting the police, threatening dire consequences if the instructions were not followed. Patsy's heart raced as she read the note. In a panic, she rushed to JonBenét's room, hoping to find her daughter safe in bed. But the bed was empty, and JonBenét was nowhere to be found. Frantic, Patsy ran back down the stairs and immediately called the police, despite the ransom note's warning. It was 5:52 a.m. when the call was placed, and within minutes, officers from the Boulder Police Department arrived at the Ramsey home. The initial response to the situation was chaotic and, in hindsight, fraught with errors that would later complicate the investigation. The Ramseys' home quickly filled with people: family, friends, the police, and eventually members of the media, all of whom unwittingly contaminated the crime scene. Despite the presence of a ransom note, the police did not immediately secure the home as a crime scene, allowing people to move freely throughout the house. As the hours passed, the police began their investigation under the assumption that JonBenét had been kidnapped. They instructed John Ramsey to search the house for any signs of forced entry, while detectives interviewed Patsy and Burke. John, accompanied by his friend Fleet White, began his search, starting in the basement. It was there, in a small, windowless room, that John made the discovery that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Lying on the cold floor, covered by a white blanket, was JonBenét's lifeless body. The sight was beyond comprehension. JonBenét was bound with nylon cord at her wrists and neck, her mouth covered with duct tape. Her father, overcome with grief, picked up her body and carried her upstairs, further compromising the crime scene. The police, now faced with a murder rather than a kidnapping, were unprepared for the complexity of the case that was about to unfold. The autopsy conducted the following day revealed the horrifying details of JonBenét's death. She had been struck on the head with a blunt object, causing a skull fracture, and then strangled with a garrote fashioned from a length of cord and the broken handle of a paintbrush. The medical examiner also noted evidence of sexual assault, though the exact nature of the assault has been the subject of much debate over the years. The combination of these injuries indicated a brutal and deliberate attack, one that raised more questions than it answered. From the outset, the investigation into JonBenét's death was marked by controversy and missteps. The Boulder Police Department, inexperienced in handling high-profile homicide cases, was quickly overwhelmed by the media attention and public scrutiny that followed. The decision to allow the Ramseys and their friends to remain in the house during the initial hours after the discovery of the ransom note was a critical mistake. The crime scene had been compromised, and valuable evidence was likely lost or contaminated. In the days following JonBenét's death, the media descended on Boulder, turning the case into a national spectacle. The combination of the Ramseys' wealth, the mysterious circumstances of the crime, and JonBenét's status as a child beauty queen created a perfect storm for sensationalism. Every detail of the case, from the ransom note to the autopsy findings, was dissected and analyzed by news outlets, talk shows, and true crime enthusiasts. As the investigation continued, suspicion began to fall on the Ramsey family themselves. The ransom note, in particular, became a focal point of the inquiry. Handwriting experts were called in to analyze the note, comparing it to samples from both John and Patsy. While some experts believed the note could have been written by Patsy, others found no conclusive match. The unusual phrasing and length of the note also raised eyebrows, leading some investigators to speculate that it had been staged to divert attention from the real crime. Theories about the family's involvement in JonBenét's death began to circulate widely. Some believed that Patsy, in a fit of rage or frustration, had accidentally killed JonBenét and then concocted the elaborate kidnapping scenario to cover it up. Others speculated that Burke, JonBenét's older brother, might have been responsible, with the parents attempting to protect him from prosecution. These theories were fueled by what some saw as the family's strange behavior in the aftermath of the crime. The Ramseys hired legal representation almost immediately and were reluctant to cooperate fully with the police, leading to further suspicion. Despite the intense focus on the family, the police were also exploring other leads. The possibility that an intruder had entered the Ramsey home that night and committed the crime was not ruled out. The house had multiple points of entry, including a broken window in the basement, which John Ramsey later claimed he had broken himself during a previous incident. Investigators found a boot print near JonBenét's body and unidentified DNA on her clothing, but these clues led to dead ends. As the weeks turned into months, the investigation seemed to stall. The Boulder Police Department, under pressure from the media and the public, struggled to make progress. The case was further complicated by the involvement of multiple agencies, including the FBI and the District Attorney's Office, which sometimes had conflicting views on how to proceed. The media continued to churn out stories and theories, keeping the case in the public eye but often muddying the waters with speculation and misinformation. In an effort to find new leads, the Ramseys themselves launched a public relations campaign, offering a reward for information and conducting interviews with major news outlets. They maintained their innocence and expressed frustration with the police's focus on them as suspects. However, their public appearances did little to sway public opinion, which remained sharply divided. Some people were convinced of the family's guilt, while others believed they were being unfairly targeted. By 1997, the case had reached a critical juncture. With no arrests and no clear suspects, the Boulder Police Department decided to take a new approach. A grand jury was convened to review the evidence and determine whether charges should be filed. The proceedings were conducted in secret, with witnesses called to testify and evidence presented in detail. The grand jury's work stretched on for more than a year, but in the end, their conclusions remained sealed, leaving the public in the dark about their findings. In the years that followed, the case of JonBenét Ramsey became a cold case, relegated to the files of unsolved crimes. The media's attention shifted to other stories, but the public's fascination with the case never truly waned. Books, documentaries, and television specials continued to explore the mystery, each offering new theories and insights but no definitive answers. The advent of the internet also played a significant role in keeping the case alive, with online communities dedicated to investigating and discussing the crime in meticulous detail. In 2003, a potential breakthrough in the case came with advances in DNA technology. The unidentified DNA found on JonBenét's clothing was reanalyzed using more sophisticated techniques, leading to the creation of a DNA profile that was entered into national databases. However, no matches were found, and the identity of the person responsible for the DNA remains unknown. This development did little to clarify the case, and in some ways it only deepened the mystery. If the DNA did not match any known suspects, did that mean the killer was a stranger, or was there another explanation? In 2006, a new twist in the case emerged when John Mark Carr, a former schoolteacher, was arrested in Thailand and confessed to killing JonBenét. Carr's confession was bizarre and inconsistent, but it reignited public interest in the case. However, Carr's story quickly unraveled when it was revealed that his DNA did not match the evidence found at the crime scene. He was eventually dismissed as a suspect, but his confession highlighted the enduring public obsession with the case and the lengths to which some people would go to insert themselves into the narrative. As the 10th anniversary of JonBenét's death approached, the Boulder District Attorney's Office decided to take a fresh look at the case. In 2008, the office officially cleared the Ramsey family of any involvement in the crime, citing the DNA evidence as proof that an unknown intruder was responsible. This announcement was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a long overdue exoneration of the Ramseys, while others remained skeptical, believing that the case had been mishandled from the start and that the truth might never be known. The 20th anniversary of JonBenét's death in 2016 brought a renewed wave of media coverage and public interest. New documentaries and television specials revisited the case, offering updated theories and re-examining old evidence. Some investigators and experts continued to advocate for the intruder theory, while others clung to the belief that the answers lay within the Ramsey family. The case remained as polarizing as ever, with no shortage of opinions, but a continued lack of concrete answers. In the years since, the case of JonBenét Ramsey has taken on an almost mythic quality, serving as both a cautionary tale and a cultural touchstone. It has been analyzed through the lenses of psychology, sociology, and criminology, with experts offering insights into the dynamics of the family, the role of the media, and the complexities of the criminal justice system. The case has also inspired countless fictional works, from novels to films, each drawing on the eerie and unsettling elements of the story. For those who knew JonBenét, however, the case is not just a mystery or a source of public fascination. It is a personal tragedy, a wound that has never fully healed. John Ramsey, who lost both his daughter and his wife Patsy, who died of cancer in 2006, has spoken publicly about the toll the case has taken on his life. He has also expressed his enduring hope that one day the truth will be revealed and justice will be served. As of today, more than 27 years after JonBenét's death, the case remains officially unsolved. Advances in forensic technology continue to offer the possibility of new breakthroughs, but for now, the mystery endures. The questions that haunted investigators in 1996 continue to linger. Who killed JonBenét Ramsey and why? Was it an intruder, as the DNA evidence suggests, or is the truth hidden in the complex web of relationships and circumstances surrounding the family? Will we ever know the full story, or will this case remain one of the great unsolved mysteries of our time? The legacy of the JonBenét Ramsey case is a complex one. It has sparked important conversations about the role of the media in criminal investigations, the responsibilities of law enforcement, and the ways in which wealth and privilege can influence the pursuit of justice. It has also served as a reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of violence, especially against the most vulnerable among us. In the end, the story of JonBenét Ramsey is a tragic one, marked by loss, confusion, and a relentless search for answers that has spanned decades. It is a story that continues to resonate, not just because of the mystery it represents, but because of the human lives at its center. JonBenét Ramsey was a young girl with dreams and aspirations, a life cut tragically short in the most brutal of circumstances. Her case reminds us that behind every headline and every theory, there is a person, a child who deserved so much more. As we reflect on the case, we are left with the hope that someday the truth will come to light. Until that day, the memory of JonBenét Ramsey will continue to be a haunting presence in the annals of American true crime, a mystery that remains unsolved but never forgotten. If you found this story as captivating as we did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Mystify Me, true crime and enigmatic investigations for more deep dives into the world's most puzzling mysteries. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on this tragic case. Let's keep the conversation going as we continue to explore the mysteries that keep us up at night.